before we get started, I'm going to tell you this story was very special to me. It's the story of Russell Leday. He's proof that age and experience should not and cannot define your dreams. He was a hardworking security guard at a Louisiana hospital who kept asking for help when everyone said no. Now he's trading in a security uniform for a lab coat at that same hospital. I was lucky enough to catch up with him earlier for today's DBL Spotlight. Dr. Russell Leday, welcome to DBL. You have such an interesting story. Let's get right into it. You were a security guard at Baton Rouge General Med for 5 years, and over the time you started asking if you could shadow doctors. How many of them turned you down, and what did it take for one of them to say yes?
A number of them, said no. At least 20 to 30 of them said no over the course of about a year and a half. And I think all it took was a little curiosity for one of them to finally tell me yes. I was walking this guy who was a surgeon at the time, and I asked him, I was like, man, what do you do? He was like, I'm a surgeon. And I was like, so you think I can shadow you? He looked at me and he was like, man, you know what? Yeah, why not? And that's all it took was one yes.
Well, let's get back to the reason you asked that question. What inspired you to get into the medical field, making such a drastic career change and asking for that first shadowing opportunity?
I asked that question because I was enamored by the white coat walking around the hospital. And I was just curious. I was curious as to, how do you take care of a sick patient? How do you make sure that they make it home when they come into the hospital incredibly ill? And I never really thought it would come to fruition. But I figured it wouldn't hurt for me to dream big.
Well, it hadn't hurt. Look at you now, bro. That white coat is shining. You have a PhD in molecular oncology, and now you're back at that same hospital, but as a medical student. So you have to tell me, and do not be humble now, please. What was that full circle moment like for you? Did you pull up playing Look at Me Now in the parking lot?
Nah, man. I actually pulled up listening to this song by a guy named Gregory Porter called Take Me to That Alley.
Take me to the alley. Take me to the afflicted ones.
And so that kind of reminded me of where I started and how I can't take this moment to have a lot of pride on my chest. I always say that the opportunity to take care of people is a privilege. I went there very thankful and grateful and just humbled by an opportunity to go back where I once dreamed of becoming a physician, to take care of people, and especially the people of Louisiana, because that's where I'm from.
That's inspiring. Now, putting work aside for a second, but this also pertains to your community, you're making changes in your community. You helped organize the photo of 15 black doctors, which I saw and really just floored me, wearing white coats in front of a former slave plantation. These photos went viral. Like I said, I saw them, and millions of other people did too. Can you tell us a little bit more about this photo?
Yeah, man, so that photo was really an opportunity for us to remind ourselves of how far we've come in spite of systems that were put in place to make sure that we never got here. It costs upwards of $5,000 to $10,000 sometimes to apply to medical school. I'm not talking about pay for medical school, I'm talking about just apply. And so we utilize that photo as an opportunity for us to raise some money and help some people apply to medical school, get into medical school, and then get through medical school.
That's awesome, man. You are living proof that anybody can do what they set their mind to, despite all your achievements and success. How do you feel like society perceives you?
I think on a good day, society perceives me as a gentleman. I do think every once in a while there are some bad days in which society perceives me as a threat. But I think we do need to work together so that systems that were put in place so that people like me wouldn't thrive are put to shame and also put away so that people can thrive. And every story is not I came up from the hood story, but a story of triumph and success.
Oh, that gave me goosebumps, brother. Dr. Russell Leday, it's been a pleasure having you on DBL, an honor actually.